You know, when I made my video a couple months ago, where I talked about what movies, Disney-wise, I would like to see get made. Well, not movies, but television series, animated series, basically those that I would like to see get made. I forgot to mention one show, and ironically I've been a fan of this show even though it's a Nickelodeon show. Now, I'm not saying Nickelodeon doesn't have some good shows. They do. Nickelodeon has proven, without a shadow of a doubt, that it can produce some great programming, animated or live action. Now, the question is, what shows have not yet received what has been known as the big silver screen theatrical treatment? There have been shows that have gotten this already. Jimmy Neutron got it. The Rugrats, the Wild Thornberrys, SpongeBob, just to name a few. The Last Airbender, these all got theatrical treatments. And there might be a few others out there, but most of them have gotten some. But the ones that I've mentioned, along with probably some that I forget, have all gotten theatrical treatment. Now, some of them have also gone on and gotten the Now, some of these have also gone on to get what is known as the made-for-television film treatment. SpongeBob has had his share of them. Fairly Odd Parents have had theirs, but they've never had a theatrical. But like I said, Wild Thornberrys have had it, Rugrats have had it, SpongeBob most definitely has had it. But there are a few out there that have not really been giving that treatment. Heck, even Hey Arnold had a theatrical movie, and he had a few specials, but yet never had that treatment. I mean, Jimmy Neutron had a few specials, a few crossovers with the Fairly Odd Parents, but yet Fairly Odd Parents never had that treatment. Now, I know you're thinking, well, Fairly Odd Parents did have a movie in theaters. Yeah, very selected, very limited. And that was supposed to be for like the finale to the whole series, I guess. Now, what I'm talking about, folks, is not just the Fairly Odd Parents, but other shows that, despite the fact that they have gotten made-for-television specials and all that, made-for-television specials and whatever, and movies and whatever you want to call them, these are animated and live-action shows, in my opinion, that Nickelodeon needs to give theatrical treatment to. The first one on the top of my list, most definitely, is one of my favorites, because I've gotten a kick out of it. I've actually watched a few whole episodes out of it. Danny Phantom. Now, I know you're thinking Danny Phantom is among some of those that has gotten a made-for-television finale. Yes, he did, but he's never had a theatrical release. And nowadays, with CGI and the special effects that are given, a live-action Danny Phantom movie is no myth. It's not something you can just dream up and say, oh, I wish it could happen. A live-action Danny Phantom movie definitely could happen, and that's one that Nickelodeon needs to look at. And I'm not talking a live-action made-for-television deal. No, I'm talking about a live-action theatrical deal. That's how big I think something like, say, Danny Phantom can get. Now, for Danny Phantom, it's like I've mentioned when I talked about some shows that I grew up with and everything that needed unknown actors and actresses. Danny Phantom's in that same category. Because you need some kids that would portray Danny Phantom as Danny Phantom. You'd need some young girl to portray a Valerie. You would need some kind of young girl to portray his love interest. I can't think of her name right now. You'd have somebody that needed to portray and be his best friend, his nerdy friend. You'd need somebody to portray and be, when you look at him and say, that Danielle Phantom. You need those kind of people. And believe me, they're out there. But again, like I said, Nickelodeon, cha-ching, can cash in with a Danny Phantom movie. Not made for television, though. Theatrical. Now, that isn't the only thing. Again, I've said there's many out there. One, like I've mentioned, is the Fairly Odd Parents. Now, the Fairly Odd Parents did get a live-action movie. And like I said, it got very limited and it did get a theatrical release, but very limited, very limited, and very selected cinemas and areas. To me, a Fairly Odd Parents movie is not something where you have Drake, the guy that played Drake from Drake and Josh, being a 23-year-old Timmy Turner, stuck in 5th grade. No. A Fairly Odd Parents movie is either CGI, or in this case, or in the case of what they did with this film, this made-for-television one, CGI and live action. But we're talking better CGI, and we're talking getting an actual kid that could portray a 5th grader, a 5th to 6th, maybe 7th grader, that would have godparents. That is the best way to go. Not something where you have them grown up. You have something where he's still like around, let's say the highest you want to go is maybe 8th, 9th grade. A Fairly Odd Parents with possibly a Timmy Turner character that's going in possibly into high school, which means his last summer before entering high school could be the last summer with his godparents. That would be a story. That would definitely be a story worth watching and worth seeing. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Now, that's what I believe a Fairly Odd Parents movie, live action, CGI combined, whatever, theatrically could be. Theatrically. Now, there's a few others, like I said. A few others out there. For example, you've got some of the most popular teeny bopper shows that Nickelodeon has ever had in its history. Possibly in the history of television. iCarly, Victorious, Big Time Rush, and True Jackson. You have all these, and yet neither one of them has gotten a theatrical treatment. Well, each and every one of them at different times, different phases in their life, could get it. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that if Nickelodeon decided to take one of those three, that the first one to get a theatrical treatment would be Big Time Rush. Believe me, I know from experience how big a crowd could be just to see those guys. And if you were to do a live action concert movie or a live action movie with these guys, believe me, the crowds, mostly young girl crowds, would be ridiculous for your theaters. And in 3D, even worse. But they'd probably be the first. The second in line, I believe, would be iCarly. Because iCarly has been around for I don't know how many years. It's one of the top rated shows that Nickelodeon has. And yet, all she's ever gotten are these made for television specials. I this, I that, I this, I this, I this. To me, an iCarly movie, not iCarly or I do this and all that. No, just iCarly the movie, or the iCarly movie, whatever. That, to me, would make a great finale, theatrically. Theatrically. Because, believe me, there's a lot of franchises out there that would end their series, end their franchises with a theatrical release. And an iCarly movie would do just that. Believe me, I know. Then we got Victorious, which also has become one of the big fads, if you will. One of the big shows. I believe Victorious would be a great live-action film if done right. And to me, either it's just a continuation on for the franchise, or it's a finale. A theatrical film for Victorious would be great. Same thing for True Jackson. You want to end the series, or you want to continue it on, give it a theatrical release, and I guarantee you, movie-wise, they may not be as successful as some people would hope, but they definitely have the potential of drawing in the fan base that they've created, the fan base that they have. Believe me, I know. Believe me. You take a look at the videos from the Stanislaus County Fair with Big Time Russia, I know that those kind of shows can rake in the dollars, if done theatrical movie-wise. I know. Now, what about some of the other animated shows out there? Mighty B might be considered for a movie, but I think Mighty B is more of a... I hate to say this, but Mighty B, it's funny and all that, but I think it's more of a direct-to-video. That's what I think. Tough Puppy, now that's kind of tossed up in the air. A lot of people like it, some people don't. So it's kind of tossed up in the air. I think animated-wise, with good feature quality, animated-wise, theatrical, animated, I think it'd be great, especially if it had good animation done with it. And when you take a look at the SpongeBob movie, back in 2000 or 2002, whatever, it had some great animation. If they stick to feature full-length animation, I mean, get good animators to come in and do Tough Puppy as a theatrical release, it'd probably be good. It'd probably be something people would want to see. So it's kind of tossed up in the air. If you did direct-to-video or direct-to-television, maybe still the same kind of animation, but it's kind of 50-50 on that. But definitely, if you want to theatricalize it and make it into a big screen movie, definitely you have to get good feature film quality animation. No doubt about it. So that's kind of tossed up in the air. And there's a bunch of others out there. Like Fanboy could be a good one, but I don't really know. But again, there's just so many out there. But the ones that I mentioned, are definitely those that should be considered for theatrical releases in the near future, whether the finales, whether the continuations, whatever. They should be considered. And you know what? Speaking of it, because I know some people want me to talk about this, if there's one series that needs to have a definite finale to it, because we were sort of left on a cliffhanger even though it was a series finale, Secret World of Alex Mack needs to have a movie. Now I know you're thinking, well, if they do the Secret World of Alex Mack, nowadays they might just take something like that, theatrical wise, and reboot it. Well, that's true, they may do that. But then again, if you want a good, clear closure as to whether or not Alex took the antidote or not, this would be the perfect chance to do it. Put her in college if you want to, or whatever. Bring in a new actress, who knows, who cares? Make this, do what they've done, do what some movies have done, some companies have done. I mean, NBC along with Archie Comics did The Return to Riverdale, which was an Archie thing, and all the Archie characters were grown up. Now, I know that it's been about, I'm guessing almost 13 years since the series ended. So yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that she'd probably be grown up or something like that, maybe married or something by now. But here's the question. Did she take the antidote? And to me, let's say you want to make her, let's say, a college grad that now teaches science and all that, or is married and all that, and yet her family, her husband, or even her kids, and yet she's newly married, and yet her husband doesn't know. See what I'm saying? Something like that, to me, would be great. Either like some people may say, you can either reboot it, bring in new actors and actresses, a new actress to portray Alex for your theatrical debut as a motion picture, or give her a good closure finale with finding out whether or not, even if she's married is a postgraduate, still going to school, whether or not she took the antidote. Because believe me, there's a lot of people on DeviantArt right now, or somebody on DeviantArt called Edgeling, along with somebody else that has the Alex Mack, the AM logo for an avatar. And they all have these thoughts and processes, all these thoughts in their minds, that Alex has not taken the antidote. That she still uses it, and as she gets older, her powers evolve more. But, to me, rebooted or finally closed and answered the question of whether she took the antidote or not, an Alex Mack theatrical film would definitely hit the spot. Because if you want to talk about one of the most popular shows Nickelodeon's ever had, it was sort of like the catapult for what you see nowadays, that definitely would help out. But that to me is just my thought. It's just my thought on the whole, on the whole Nickelodeon deal, and basically what I feel what Nickelodeon or Nick shows need to have theatrical releases that have not yet had them. So those are just my thoughts on it. Give me your thoughts down below, because I know there's many fans out there of the shows I've mentioned. Do you agree or not agree? Comment down below. I'll talk to you later.